yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with a cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. They feel their disease. Just like a weed.
Oh, yeah, baby. We are rocking and rolling, and it is Thursday night. We turning up on a Thursday, and you best believe that that is indeed a thing. And that could only mean that, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to a very speciale edizione Thursday stream. We are live right here, and it looks like we may be having some trouble with Facebook, but don't worry, we'll get that corrected sooner rather than later. But regardless, this right here, it's a very special edition Thursday stream. As per usual, Thursdays are my SmackDown days. You got my Monday Night Raw days on Saturday, which of course is the LFU, and then of course you got the Rundown on Thursdays. We got another big weekend of wrestling ahead of us. And as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle, No. Hold on. People, you need to stop what you're doing because there's a very, very, very important thing that all must do. There's a certain scent in the air, and I want you to breathe it in. I want you to take a nice big inhale, and I want you to go, oh, so nice you got to do it twice. It's so nice that you got to do it a second time. Oh, got to hit the hat trick. You did it once, you did it twice, you got to hit the hat trick, people. So do it with me now and go, oh, shit. Do you smell that? Oh, my God, that is succulent. Oh, that is tasty. Do you know what that is? I think you know what that is. Please, please, little miss, tell me, what is that oh so delightful scent?
It's the scent of excellence.
Oh my God, you damn fucking right, baby. The scent of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To Mankind, the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle, known to mankind. And this is the official rundown for AEW Revolution 2024, which of course is streaming live on Bleach Report and all local pay-per-view and cable providers across the nation. Now get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the saints across the nation. We are getting down and dirty, baby, because we got a lot to go over. They're looking to start off the pay-per-view year for All Elite Wrestling with a major bang as we close the chapter on a legend's career. And with me, for the first time ever, from start to finish, to help me dissect, preview, and predict everything that's going down on Sunday. She is a lifelong wrestling fan, coming to us from Colorado. She is a good friend of mine, DJ Storms Posse member, please help me welcome to the channel for the first time ever on the rundown, Miss Jess Rene. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? You are absolutely ridiculous.
I am so
Yeah,
goddamn good, aren't I?
you are absolutely ridiculous. No, I'm glad to be here, glad to go over everything. Excited to be here for the first time.
I'm telling you, we have
Promoted
a lot
it.
of material to go over. We have a lot of material to go
Yeah,
over, and on top of that, we could be looking, if they play their cards right, this revolution could very well top the last couple of revolutions, and especially last year's revolution. Last year's revolution is going to be tough to top because last year's revolution, I mean, you had the Texas Death Match with Hangman and Moxley. You had the Iron Man match with MJF and Bryan Danielson. You had the House of Black versus the Elite. But what we got going on with this card, it may very well be one of the best top to bottom cards that AEW has put on. And we're going to dissect everything in depth. But before we get into what we're going to get into, Jess, please tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
well, you can find me on X at Jess Skywalker 10, and that is the main social media that you can find me on.
Go check her
So
out,
it's
people. Go
Jess
check her out.
Skywalker.
She tweets a lot.
I do. Not lately, but I've been busy. But
I mean, like that's
get
just
back
life
to
when
it.
it comes down to it all. That's life when it comes down to it all. But everyone always makes time for DJ Shizzle Dizzle, just like you have. And you can find me on social media at HistoryMaker DJS. One more time, at HistoryMaker DJS, because I make history in every single goddamn thing that I do, both on X and Instagram. You can add me on my personal Facebook as well. Please send me an email for collaborations and business inquiries. It's StormsTakeOver at gmail.com. One more time, StormsTakeOver at gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all those links are in the description. On top of that, please make sure that you hit the like button no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it from X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. We're live on Rumble too. We got a nice wide outreach. Please like the stream, shout out on all platforms of social media, whether it be on X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, Rumble, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, because we want to get as many people in here as possible. You know why? It's because it's a known fact that I make people's lives better. I don't make the rules. Yeah, I do. We have plenty, and I mean plenty of good material coming to you guys throughout the year for the DJ Storms brand, and it continues actually tonight, going into the weekend and going into Monday. I got a nice special Monday stream planned for you guys with the review for Revolution. Also, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on my channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, because we want to get to 1,000 for Hardcore Sports, 1,000 subscribers, and we're on the road to 2,400 subscribers for your boy, the Stormsmeister, the greatest man that ever lived, DJ Shizzle Dizzle my Nizzle. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button for me. And this is the best part right here. Everyone's been waiting for this, and I know you've been waiting for it too, Jess. You got to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. And do you know why? Because it is the only time that you are going to get to see this oh-so-glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Hold on, I got something in here. Hold on. It's in here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at it. Look at it. Look at what it says. It says ace, because I am the ace of the IWC. Hold on. I gotta blow on it. It is hot. It is sizzling. We're going to let it up right here. Everyone's been waiting for this. We're going to let it up right here on the rundown with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like hot, fresh sausage and roasted potatoes and vegetables right out of the oven, I am just so good, tasty, because everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. Anyway, I'd say that's enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here? Don't shake your head at me. Do not shake your head at me. God. Now
You
then.
invited me.
I'm telling you, I just have an effect on everyone when it comes down to it. But anyway, let's get straight into the festivities here. Let's talk about our first match, Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson for the AEW Continental Crown Championship. Now, this match came about on Collision because Bryan Danielson, he has been trying to get under the skin of Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston has been a very proud champion, but Bryan Danielson, he is still haunted by that loss to Eddie Kingston back on the final Dynamite of 2023. And Eddie Kingston, he pretty much made the challenge to Bryan to fight him at Revolution because he wants Bryan to finally acknowledge Eddie Kingston and show his respect to Eddie Kingston by shaking his hand should Kingston finally beat Bryan definitively, just like he did back in December. He beats Bryan definitively, and Eddie Kingston will finally get some respect for Bryan Danielson, or from Bryan Danielson, should I say. Jess, let me hand it over to you. Give me your best analytical dissection of this. Who do you think is going to come out victorious and why?
I am hoping that Kingston comes out of this victorious. And my reasoning behind that is partially because, one, I'm not a Bryan Danielson fan. I just have never been a fan of his work. It is what it is. I'm glad he was able to come back after being told that he would never be able to wrestle again. That's awesome for him. I'm glad he still gets to have a career. That's fantastic. Just have never been a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Eddie Kingston. I think that he's going to win. He's been on a hot streak lately. In AEW, he's been, really with his matches. He's gotten better in his matches. They've looked better. And I'm just, like I said, a huge fan of his. So I'm pulling for him to win this match just because I think he has more to prove than Danielson does. Bryan Danielson doesn't have anything else to prove.
No.
He doesn't. He's proven it all with his career. Like I said, this is coming from somebody who's not even a huge fan of his. He's proved it with his career. He's had a storybook career. And I just think it's Kingston's time to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no real reason for Bryan to win. If Bryan is to win a championship, I mean, if they want to, I'm not saying it's going to be a definite, but Bryan is not going to be completely retired. He'll probably come back every now and then for a Brock Lesnar-esque type schedule. But now he's starting to wrap up his full-time career because his daughter is turning 7, and he made that promise to his daughter. But as far as this match goes, the whole premise behind it was to get Eddie Kingston in a big match on the show. Bryan Danielson, we already know, is very selfless. He does not mind putting anybody over. He is more than willing to go out there and take a loss if it means good for his opponent. And clearly that is the best intention for Kingston. I do believe that Kingston will be losing one of his titles soon. Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor is actually coming up on April 5th. I do believe the best match that they could do for that show is Eddie Kingston versus Mark Briscoe. And Mark Briscoe beats Eddie Kingston, wins the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title for his brother Jay. I mean, the story pretty much writes itself. I think that is the best route to go for Kingston. I'm not sure what happens with the Continental Crown. There are multiple routes that they can go. The one thing that I'm really not looking forward to is probably the All-Star Scramble match. Not because it's going to be a bad match, but because of the fact that the winner is not really going to benefit well. But we'll talk about that when we get to the All-Star Scramble match. But I'd say we're Eddie Kingston across the board here. Bryan doesn't need it. And if there's one thing about Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, Bryan is going to do the right thing. He's going to put over Eddie Kingston. And Kingston finally is going to get his respect from Bryan. Where can you see Bryan going after this, if I may ask?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't really know where Bryan goes after this. I don't know. Is it with the new talent that came in? Is it with Will Ospreay? Do they try and pit the best technical wrestler against Will Ospreay? Do they start a whole new storyline? I mean, I don't know where they go with this or where the BCC goes.
Now, I have an idea. I think that if I remember correctly, Zack Sabre Jr., he did beat Bryan Danielson back at a New Japan event. I think he beat him back at Wrestle Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. No, not Wrestle Kingdom. New Beginning. I think it was New Beginning. Okada beat Bryan at Wrestle Kingdom. So if my calculations are correct, Bryan did say that the third match between him and Sabre should be on neutral ground. So if anything, I can honestly see this match with Bryan and Zack Sabre Jr. taking place at All in Wembley Stadium this year. Now, as far as the match with Okada goes, there's been rumors that AEW could do another stadium show this year. I'm not really sure where it's going to be. If anything, I think it could be in Everbank Arena, which is the place where the Jacksonville Jaguars play, which would make sense, honestly. If they do another stadium show, I do believe that Okada and Bryan Part 3 would be a major money match for the show. We're going to have to get Okada Danielson Part 3. Just like Sabre and Danielson Part 3, we got to get Okada and Danielson Part 3. That's the whole reason why Okada is coming to AEW. And I do believe he will be showing up at the Revolution. So, why don't we move on here to the BCC, ironically. We'll talk about the BCC a little bit. Let's talk about Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. They're taking on FTR. This pretty much came about. It's a very simple story here. The BCC have kind of been calling out everyone and saying that everyone is just happy to be here and that they celebrate even the minor victories. The Blackpool Combat Club, they're not one to celebrate. They're just going to go out there and kick everyone's ass and make sure that everyone knows that this is a serious game to them. This isn't playtime and all this other shit. Pretty much the BCC has been wanting people to step up, and they've been getting some tag team wins, thus enter FTR. I had a feeling that this was leading to a rematch at Revolution after the time limit draw on Dynamite a couple weeks back. The only thing that's a little confusing to me is why this match doesn't really have a stipulation, which was kind of odd to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I do believe that this is going to be a victory for FTR. Blackpool Combat Club, they don't really need it unless we're going to have Blackpool Combat Club potentially versus whoever the tag team champions are after Revolution, depending on if they want to go that route. But we'll talk about that when we get to the main event, or what I do believe will be the main event. But if the Blackpool Combat Club take the win, I can see them potentially going for the tag team titles, or maybe they go for the trios titles. Who knows? But if anything, I would probably lean a little bit more towards FTR. I would probably lean a little bit more towards FTR, even though they don't really need it because they're coming off of a big steel cage win over the House of Black a couple weeks back. It's a very unpredictable scenario. So I guess that makes the match a little bit more intriguing because we don't really know who's going to win. We don't really know where they're going afterwards. But regardless, I think we're going to get a great tag team match. The tag team division with AEW has definitely been revitalized, which I'm very happy to see. Last year was kind of a bit of a dark year for the tag team division, but they seemingly have written the ship, and FTR and the Blackpool Combat Club, they seem to be at the forefront. We've seen some great tag team matches over the course of the last 2 months of 2024, and I expect this to be no different. I think I'll just go with a dark horse pick. Maybe I'll go with FTR. I'll go with FTR to get the victory here, unless you see things a little bit differently.
I more see it going towards the Blackpool Combat Club. Jon Moxley doesn't lose. Moxley doesn't lose.
At World's End.
He did, but he rarely loses. Very rarely does the Blackpool Combat Club lose.
All right, then where?
So it'll be interesting to see which direction that they go. And it'll be interesting to see how they continue with the tag team dynamic with BCC rather than having them compete individually, and to see if they continue that into the tag team division for the titles.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that we could see them potentially competing for the trios titles?
For the trios titles, yeah. I think the trios titles need a little bit more respect put on them, and more oomph, more defenses, more spotlight.
Yeah, they haven't really been spotlighting them too well. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang, it's just not working. It's just not working. I know where it's leading to. I know where it's leading to. It's leading to Bullet Club versus the Acclaim. It's going to be title for title, and I do believe Bullet Club Gold's taking it all, which is great. That's going to be awesome, but it's just not working. It's not working. We do need to get more focus on those trios belts. If anything, I would put a spotlight on it at Supercard of Honor. Have the title for title match at Supercard of Honor between Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. It would actually make Supercard of Honor feel a little bit more important, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, I guess we'll have to put some money on this. I got FTR. She's got the Blackpool Combat Club. We'll see how that plays out. Let's talk about the TNT title match. This one kind of came out of nowhere, and this was actually a little bit interesting because I really wasn't expecting this match to be booked, but it almost seems as though the popularity of the challenger has seemingly overtaken what was going on with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. Christian Cage is taking on Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. I want to say that I do like it. I want to say that it is a good decision because they're pushing the youth. The youth being pushed to the forefront is always a great thing when it comes to AEW. And Daniel Garcia, Daniel Garcia has been on a hot streak lately. The Continental Classic rejuvenated Daniel Garcia's career. The Continental Classic really made Daniel Garcia feel as though he could be a legitimate threat. And he's been getting a lot of wins as of lately. Now, as far as Adam Copeland goes, I guess it's safe to say that the feud between Copeland and Cage, it really doesn't need the TNT Championship. It doesn't really need that title spotlight. So if they want to, I would actually love to see Garcia win this. I'm not even lying. Garcia taking the win here over Christian Cage, that would elevate him up the ladder. And if you really want to push the youth to the forefront and make sure that AEW's youthful division, that young spotlight is being showcased, the future of the business is being showcased, that right there would be a great way to really amp up the television product and make it a little bit more unpredictable. And with how hot Daniel Garcia is right now, the crowd want him to win. The crowd want him to succeed. So I don't think that it would be in their best interests to have Daniel Garcia lose. Now, how does he do that? I don't know. I do think that if they want to, the best possible way to do this and to kind of add more heat to the Copeland-Cage rivalry would be to have Adam Copeland show up in redemption for Christian Cage, hitting him with a concerto. He shows up after the ref gets knocked down, and he costs Christian Cage the championship, thus resulting in a program between the two without the title. Daniel Garcia can go and do his own thing, and then after Cage inevitably loses to Copeland, then we can build towards Christian Cage versus Killswitch, which is what they teased before. They haven't really been teasing it now, but then after Copeland beats Cage, then we can move forward with I want to say it's a similar dynamic between MJF and Wardlow when they were breaking them apart, between Christian and Killswitch. If they want to do something along those lines heading into Wembley, Killswitch or Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, they could be on a collision course for Wembley. That would be a really full circle moment considering that they were in a coffin, or they were involved in a coffin match last year at All In. Killswitch was not actually involved in the match, but he did get involved in Darby and Sting and Nick Wayne as well, because Nick Wayne was there as well. But I'm pulling for a Daniel Garcia win here.
Yeah, I would much prefer to see Daniel Garcia be victorious in this match over Christian Cage. Just kind of over the Christian Cage storyline in itself. I think it kind of needs to resolve itself with the whole Nick Wayne thing. It met its purpose at the time, but I think it's kind of outdrawn its course. I think it's time for Nick Wayne to potentially go on his own, do something else on his own, and Christian Cage doesn't need a title, like you said, to have the feud against Adam Copeland. They don't need the title to be involved in it, so why continue to keep holding the title hostage? Give it to Garcia, push him to the top. let him defend
but I wouldn't go too far in disrespecting the Father of the Year now.
Yeah, well, it's boring. It's boring.
I don't know. I think Christian Cage may just pop in, and he's not going to be too happy. Maybe he'll bring Mother Wayne too.
Yeah.
Not for nothing,
Yeah,
though.
well.
That shit was fantastic. Not for nothing. The fact that they got Nick Wayne's mom wearing a turtleneck with Christian Cage. I mean, I just can't help but laugh at that shit. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's something.
But here's a question.
I definitely think Garcia.
But here's a question. Where can you see Garcia going after he wins the title? Now, I have a plan for All In because I think about this shit months in advance. I don't know why I haven't been hired by a company yet, but where can you see Garcia going after, or if he wins the title? Because we already know where Copeland and Christian Killswitch, we all know where they're going. Copeland's going to beat Cage, and then Christian and Luchasaurus, they're headed into a feud. But where can you see Daniel Garcia going?
I could see Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara getting back into something potentially for the TNT title, and Sammy Guevara getting back into the TNT title picture. They always have great matches. They put on excellent matches between the two of them. Sammy's big right now. He's coming back, from being hated to starting to be loved again. Unnecessarily hated, by the way. But I could see him going against, another feud with Sammy, or potentially a feud with Daddy Magic, or whatever the goofy guy that he's with, his name is.
It is Daddy
turning
Magic.
Against him after he gets Daddy Magic. Daddy Magic getting jealous because Garcia's being pushed and he's not. It could potentially go that way, but I don't see where that actually highlights or showcases Daniel Garcia in any way. Daniel Garcia needs to be facing bigger top name performers. He needs to be facing the Malachi Blacks. He needs to be facing the Orange Cassidys. Even put him up against a Young Buck. Take him out of the tag team division, but they'll probably win the titles on Sunday. But get him up there with some of the bigger stars, some of the pillars, because that's where his caliber deserves to be.
I have an idea. Now, one thing is for sure is I said that Garcia needed to be a priority this year, and he has been so far. Another guy, which we'll talk about later, should be a priority this year as well. I'd say he goes into Wembley and defends it against Konosuke Takeshita. Not
bores me. Man, that guy bores me.
I don't know how. Like, come on, you can't sit there and tell me that guy doesn't put on bangers.
I mean, for a huge guy, I would say yeah. I mean, for a big dude, he puts on some pretty decent matches because he's tall. I mean, he's really tall. So for the things that he does, he puts on some good matches. But just the character itself, maybe not the matches, but the character itself is boring.
Well, that's because they're not really having him do anything. It's because Don Callis, he's doing his thing with the Don Callis family. I don't mind Takeshita being in the Don Callis family, but we do need Takeshita on TV more, wrestling a little bit more, because that right there is what's going to elevate him up the ladder. Seeing him wrestle, and the fans will absolutely relate to him through his mannerisms and through his ability in the ring. I mean, if we're looking at a guy that could potentially go on a mega run with the TNT title if they want to, I mean, Takeshita could be that guy. And if anything has been proven this year, it's the fact that Takeshita, he wrestles like a main event star. I mean, look at his match with Darby, look at his match with Jericho, and be sure to watch his match on Sunday. We'll talk about his match in a little bit, but I would love to see what'd you say?
I'm looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm. But we're definitely going to be rooting for Garcia. I think that Garcia is probably the best option here. And it does kind of throw a little bit of a monkey wrench and a sense of unpredictability into the fray for AEW. Let's talk about the women's title match. Deonna Purrazzo and Timeless Toni Storm, AEW Women's World Championship. I'm actually going to throw this over to you. I do definitely appreciate the history and the backstory that they've been telling with Toni Storm and Deonna, how they moved in together and they lived together for a little bit during the pandemic, and how they became friends all the way back in the day, and how this new Toni Storm to Deonna is a little bit more of a facade. I do believe that we're going to see some of that old Toni Storm. I do believe that Deonna Purrazzo is going to bring out a real technical masterpiece in Toni Storm that we haven't really seen in a while. Not to say that we haven't been getting great matches out of Toni Storm, but they've really been playing up to that character, that timeless Marilyn Monroe top, almost broken Matt Hardy style gimmick, where it's just so ridiculous to a point where like you can't help but laugh and love it. I don't think that Deonna is going to win the championship. I do think we're going to get a big return here. But before I tell you who that is, I'll throw it over to you. The ball's in your court.
I think we're on the same page with the return, because I think we're going to see Britt Baker come back on Sunday. Is my prediction.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be Britt.
We're going to see Britt Baker back on Sunday after this match. Britt Baker also has a history with Deonna Purrazzo. They're like best friends. They have a huge history together. From what I know, they're really close, from seeing on social media and just knowing in the past those two are very close. So that's a potential that could happen, is that we could see her come back. She's been gone for months. Like, now that this is coming back, maybe she could come back and get into the picture. In this match, I don't see Deonna Purrazzo winning either, just because it's her first big match in AEW. I don't think they're going to throw the title on her right away. This timeless Toni Storm thing is working. It's been beautifully executed this whole time. Like you said, it's so ridiculous. You can't help but love it. They've done it perfectly. She's done perfectly to bring out this character, this timeless Toni Storm character. But I definitely think we're going to see that real technical Toni Storm wrestler in this match against Deonna. But I don't think I think that Toni Storm's going to retain.
I actually don't think Britt Baker is going to return. I had another person in mind.
Okay, who did you have in mind?
Jamie Hayter.
That's a possibility to build up for All In.
I don't think that's going to be at All In, though. Like, here's the thing. If they're going to have, if they want to, you could have Britt and Jamie Hayter return. And if anything, if you want an undercard women's match for All In, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Just throwing it out there. The history is there. The history is right there waiting for him. And that's going to be a big showcase for Jamie Hayter. But the All In match, I think it's going to be Mercedes Moné and timeless Toni Storm. And Mercedes Moné is taking the win. I'm telling you, Mercedes is showing up at big business. There's no way they're gonna have AEW big business.
It's in Boston.
Yeah, exactly. In the TD Garden in Boston with 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 people, however many tickets that they sell. No way you're gonna have that match. Hold on, we lost her. There you go. No.
I'm back.
But there's no way you're going to have that show and not have Mercedes jump on into AEW. Mercedes and Toni, that is the best possible match that they could do for All In. And if they want to incorporate Jamie Hayter in there, Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker would be perfect. And I mean a perfect match to do at All In. And it would really generate some heel heat for Britt Baker. That right there would be a picture-perfect layout. But I think we're Toni Storm across the board here. We're Toni Storm across the board here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's too soon with Deonna coming over. I don't think they're going to drop the title on her right away. Like I said, what's going on with Toni Storm is working. It's highlighting their women's division. It's giving it, she's made something of it. She's boosted it. She's gotten more spotlight to it. She's brought it to life. So I think having her as champion still until All In is a good call. But I don't know if throwing it right away on Mercedes is a good idea.
I mean, they wouldn't necessarily be throwing it right away on Mercedes. She would have already been there for at least 6 months. And as we speak right now, if you really want to put a spotlight on your division, you got to put your best foot forward. That's why I said that Julia Hart, she's going to have to lose the TBS championship because, listen, I think Julia Hart's improved greatly. She really has. She's got a great character. She's improved in the ring. But when I look at Julia Hart, and I'm telling you, a lot of people feel this way too, Julia Hart is not one of the best that they have. She's not a Willow Nightingale. She's not a Chris Statlander. She's not an Athena. She's not a Thunder Rosa. She's not a Serena Deeb. She's not a Jamie Hayter. We need our best people at the forefront. And Mercedes is easily one of the best, if not one of probably the best of this generation right now. She's going to go down as one of the best women's wrestlers of all time, right up there with Lita, right up there with Trish, right up there with Bayley. She's going to go down in history. So if putting the title on her at All In is a possibility, you got to go for it. And Mercedes, she should absolutely be the longest reigning AEW Women's World Champion of all time, period. No fucking doubt about it.
Mercedes Moné, yes. Sasha Banks, no.
Well, yeah, because Sasha wasn't booked correctly. Let's be honest here. Sasha was booked like a fucking... She was booked like a jobber. She was booked like a one-hit wonder when it came to winning championships.
Mercedes has been booked like a star since she left.
There you go. Let's talk about the International Championship. Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. Adam! I'm sorry, I thought I heard him. Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy. International Championship. The Undisputed Kingdom, listen, I've talked about the Undisputed Kingdom. They have not been hitting their stride, and it's for one specific reason and one specific reason only. I talked about this with the Bloodline back in the day. Coming out of WrestleMania 38 in 2022, the Bloodline were essentially a dead faction. And the reason being is because they had no mega babyface to bounce their heel heat off of. They were just on an island unto themselves, no pun intended. But they had no one to feud with because they've beaten everyone. And then along came Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn became the yin to their yang. It's the same thing with the Undisputed Kingdom. The Undisputed Kingdom needed a top-tier babyface to bounce their heel heat off of, and it was going to be MJF. MJF was going to be the babyface that was going to help get the Undisputed Kingdom more over. Unfortunately, he had a minor hip injury and he tore his labrum, so unfortunately he's going to be out. There's nothing really that we can do there. It's an unfortunate circumstances, but they've been doing right by the Undisputed Kingdom. They've been booking them in matches. They've been winning clean. They've been winning matches clean. Things have not really gone over the top with the Undisputed Kingdom, but they have been winning matches clean. They've been looking dominant in victory. And not only that, they're being showcased on television consistently. They just don't have a baby face to bounce their heel magnitude off of. So they're stuck in a stationary position. Orange Cassidy is great.
Right.
Orange Cassidy is great, but he is not the mega baby face that they need. However, Roderick Strong, he should absolutely win the title. He absolutely needs to win the title. There's no more for Orange Cassidy to do as the international champion. He's had 2 reigns. The first reign nearly lasted a year. This reign is approaching 150 days. I think it's about time we move on from Orange Cassidy in the international championship. And I do have a plan for Orange Cassidy. I think we need to move him up into the world title scene. I don't think he's going to be world champion this year, but Orange Cassidy being in the world title scene would definitely institute a fresh flavor into the world title scene, and it would make things a little bit more unpredictable. Not to say that predictable is bad, but it would definitely give the world title scene a little bit more excitement and a little bit more unpredictability than we've seen. Roderick Strong, him winning the international title, that would be a nice step towards helping the Undisputed Kingdom get to where they need to be, because they're slowly starting to come around. It's at a snail's pace.
Mm-hmm. It would give them a little bit of a purpose to have a title. Because right now, with MJF gone and the Devil storyline being done, they're boring. It's like, why are you here?
They're boring. I wouldn't necessarily say they're boring. They just don't have direction.
Well, that's the thing. They don't have, like, it's exactly like I just said. It's like, what is your purpose? Why are you here? There's no reason for you to be here because you have no purpose to be here right now. Your storyline makes no sense in the grand scheme of things in this moment because MJF is not around. If MJF was still here and around and they had to continue that storyline, but the abrupt ending to the Devil's storyline due to MJF getting hurt and all of that, it's just, I don't find a purpose for the Undisputed Kingdom.
And it's sad.
I don't.
It's sad.
Now,
they're great wrestlers. They're fantastic.
They've turned Roderick Strong into a joke. I mean, he's a joke with his screaming and his Adam, and I mean, they've turned him into a joke, and he's a good wrestler. Look at his matches. He puts on star quality matches. But they've got his character looking like a big goo every week. And
well, he's not doing that anymore, to be fair. He's not doing that anymore.
Thank God. But they need to have a purpose, and maybe him winning the title and giving them more titles would give that group a bigger purpose. Because yes, they've got the ROH tag team titles, right? That's what they've got.
Taven and Bennett are the ROH tag team champions, but they need more than that.
They need more than that because it's just not enough to give them oomph, to give them purpose, like you said. They just don't. Now, maybe him winning, I'm going to pull him for Orange Cassidy. I'm an Orange Cassidy girl. I would prefer to just see Orange Cassidy win, lose it to somebody else, because I don't see what the international title really brings, because it's kind of just been Orange Cassidy's his sidekick since it's been
I wouldn't
its
necessarily
inception.
say that. It's all about what the individual with the title is doing. And Orange Cassidy, he made the title prestigious, and he gave meaning to the title by showcasing it every week, showcasing how he's not just going to be a champion that just waits around for his challengers. He's going to go out and seek his own challengers. Now, with Roderick Strong involved, I do think that it's going to bring a sense of urgency where people are now going to have to fight to get on the level of an Undisputed Kingdom. And on top of that, I mean, Orange Cassidy, I think he's needed in other divisions. Like the world title scene, that would really be shaken up with Orange Cassidy being involved in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's where I think he's stagnant at, is that he's stuck at that international title. And what it reminds me of is Truth and the Hardcore title. Or the 24/7 championship.
Oh my God, don't even get me started.
No, just saying, that's what it reminds me of. It becomes synonymous with a person when it's been on a person for so long. So like the 24/7 championship was synonymous with R-Truth because he always had the title. And that's kind of how it feels like it is with our Orange Cassidy and the international title, is that's kind of his thing, is being the international championship. And maybe you're right, he needs to lose to Roderick Strong to break out of it. But I don't know if Roderick Strong's the person.
I mean, if we're going to build up the Undisputed Kingdom, then he's going to have to be the person. If we're going to build up the Undisputed Kingdom and give them meaning and purpose, and hopefully, cross our fingers, hopefully Adam Cole is almost ready to come back, then they're going to be at full strength. And when they're at full strength, that's when the direction should really start kicking in. And I do have a feeling that we could be headed for a big match at Wembley, depending on if MJF is back or not, but that remains to be seen. But I got Roderick Strong. It just makes the most sense. It's the right call. We need to get Orange Cassidy into different divisions, and we need to build up the Undisputed Kingdom. That's for me. But what do you got?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Orange Cassidy on this one just because I'm an Orange Cassidy girl. And I don't see, and even though it's giving them another title, what does the international title really bring to the Undisputed Kingdom? They need something like the TNT title, or they need something bigger.
Well, that's where it could come into play, but we'll see how that plays out. All-Star Scramble match. This was made because the Meat Madness match had to be canceled because Miro and Keith Lee are medically disqualified, according to Tony Khan. So he made this All-Star Scramble, and the winner of this match gets a shot at the AEW World title. I hate that. I hate that. That should not be the case whatsoever. The participants are Wardlow, Lance Archer, Chris Jericho, Hook, Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, Magnus, who beat Matt Sydal to qualify for this match. We'll see it on Rampage tomorrow night. And then it's either going to be Brian Keith, Penta El Cero Miedo, or Dante Martin. Listen, I understand that you had to cancel the Meat Madness match, but this match really does not need to be a number one contenders match for the world title. If anything, you want to make it a number one contenders match, it should be a number one contenders match for the Continental Crown Championship. Put a little bit more of a spotlight on Eddie Kingston's championship. Because as we speak right now, Wardlow, he is looking to become the world champion. Listen, that's fine.
That's the only one I can see winning.
Yeah, I can see him winning too, but right now, Wardlow is not going to be the world champion because there's a bigger story that is involved with two men that's already competing for the world championship. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about where the story with the world title will go because I got a picture-perfect story for you. But Wardlow winning the Continental Crown from Eddie Kingston is a beloved babyface. Eddie Kingston could be a babyface that could give the Undisputed Kingdom purpose. Roderick Strong, if Roderick Strong wins the International Championship and then Wardlow takes the Continental Crown from Eddie Kingston because Roderick Strong interfered, you have a storyline between Kingston and Strong now for the International Championship. And Eddie Kingston could very well be the yin to the Undisputed Kingdom's yang. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that because whoever wins this match is getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not needed. It really isn't needed. And you're really putting an anchor on the World Heavyweight title picture when in reality, Wardlow should be nowhere near the world title at this stage of the game. Not because he's not great. But it's just because it's not his time and there are other things going on. There are bigger fish to fry than Wardlow. It's a sad state, but right now it's just not Wardlow's time. But unfortunately, he's the only guy I can see winning.
Yeah, Wardlow's the only one I can see winning. That's such an odd combination of just throwing random shit together to get a match. It's sloppy. And
I'm sure it was great, but it really wasn't needed.
No, not for the title.
Or for a title shot, rather.
Yeah,
however, I can see a couple of things branching out from this. Obviously, we got Hook and Brian Cage. Hook and Brian Cage, they're absolutely on a collision course. I'm actually shocked that Hook and Brian Cage for the FTW Championship was not put on the buy-in. I'm genuinely shocked that match wasn't made for the buy-in. Wardlow, he's the only guy I can see winning. Not really sure what they're going to do with Hobbs. Hobbs is another one that's just kind of stuck in limbo. Well, what they got going on with Hobbs is great. He put on a fantastic match with Sammy Guevara on Collision, and the Don Callis family, they got a nice, decent little thing going on, but I can't really see Hobbs going anywhere unless they're going to have Hobbs take the title off of Eddie Kingston. That would give the Don Callis family some meaning. It depends on how they want to book it. But Wardlow's the only guy I can see winning. This is probably the match I'm looking forward to the least.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
But where can you see all these guys going? Do you think, let me ask you this, if Wardlow wins the World Heavyweight Championship shot, if he wins the shot at the title and he wins this All-Star Scramble match, does that mean that MJF could very well return earlier than expected and he could cost Wardlow the match and he could pick up his feud with the Undisputed Kingdom?
Or Adam Cole could turn on Wardlow like everybody else has.
I don't think
Adam Cole could potentially
turn
the title because. But listen, it could be Adam Cole is healed faster than they expected. They keep it a secret, and then Adam Cole could cost Wardlow the title. because he wants to be the king of the Undisputed Kingdom.
Well, why would he though? Because he did say that Wardlow's going to win the title, and then once Adam Cole's healthy, then Wardlow's going to give it up to him. That right there is the line that stuck out to me.
I forgot about that. I forget things that Adam Cole says because he's just non-existent in my world.
He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You ain't going to be disrespecting Bebe like that.
Oh, he's a very good wrestler. He's a very good wrestler. He hasn't been booked very well, in my opinion, lately. So it makes it hard to become invested. I was very invested when he first came back. I was excited that he came back. But restarting the Undisputed just was kind of like, meh.
I know.
We needed rehashing of that.
It's because they don't have MJF. If they had MJF, then the Undisputed Kingdom would have came off brilliantly. But unfortunately,
They would make more sense.
It's again, there's no purpose. There's no purpose. But if Adam Cole didn't get injured, he would be in a much better position. The injury stifled the momentum of the Brochachos, unfortunately.
A lot of things.
But
a lot of things, really.
But yeah, I think that we're Wardlow across the board, right? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita. If you're looking for match of the year candidate, this is what I'm looking forward to. Will Ospreay, Konosuke.
I'm really looking forward to one.
Yep. Match of the year candidate right here. And you know what makes this so good? You know why this is a great decision? And I talked about this because this right here is a gateway to get Will Ospreay out of the Don Callis family. Because as we speak right now,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Two things. Number one, we need a top babyface on AEW TV because MJF is out. If MJF was not out, he would have been the top babyface on AEW TV going after the Undisputed Kingdom. But we don't have that. Listen, Hangman right now, there's no way Hangman's being looked at as a babyface. And we'll talk about that next because the story with Hangman and Swerve is easily the best storyline in AEW right now. The story with Hangman and Swerve, that right there is probably one of the best storylines that they've ever told, and it's gonna carry all the way to Wembley. But Will Ospreay, as of right now, he's needed more so as a babyface than he is as a heel. And I don't think anyone's gonna boo Will Ospreay, not after the reaction that he got on Dynamite. And as far as Takeshita goes, he needs the Don Callis family. Powerhouse Hobbs, you can make the argument that he needs the Don Callis family. Kyle Fletcher, you can make the argument that he needs the Don Callis family. Will Ospreay does not need the Don Callis family whatsoever. Will Ospreay is perfectly over, perfectly fine on his own. The Don Callis family with Will Ospreay, and I don't mean to cut you off, the Don Callis family with Will Ospreay, it never really made sense to me. If they wanted to hire Ospreay as an assassin for Don Callis to take out Omega and Jericho for those appearances alone, then that's fine. That I had no problem with. But him consistently being involved with Don Callis, that really just didn't sit well. It almost felt like it didn't gel together. So him winning this match, because I see Ospreay winning this match, and then getting beaten down by the Don Callis family, that's going to put Will Ospreay in a great babyface position. That's going to give the Don Callis family something of substance to do. And it's going to build up Will Ospreay as a top-tier babyface going into the spring and summer months of AEW TV. So I got Will Ospreay beating Takeshi here. Easily a match of the year candidate, and Don Callis family will turn on Ospreay. Where can you see Will Ospreay going after this feud?
After this feud, I'm not too sure. It'll definitely, I think, go down the way you said it's going to go down, and I think it's going to end up being a Will Ospreay against the Don Callis family for a little while. And I think Kyle Fletcher is going to come back with Will Ospreay rather than being in the Don Callis family because he was with Will Ospreay way prior to the Don Callis family. So I think this actually also gives the Don Callis family a new purpose because they've just been kind of there since the Jericho feud fizzled out, and they haven't really had much of a huge purpose to be around. They're trying to push Hobbs. They're doing the best they can to push Hobbs, and Hobbs puts on some great matches. So, but I'm definitely going for Will Ospreay on this one. I definitely think after the encounter last night on Dynamite that it's definitely going to go to where they're going to turn on him, because Takeshita is the center of the Don Callis family right now. The Don Callis family is built around Takeshita. It's not built around everybody else. It's built around Takeshita. So after the interaction that they had last night, the little standoff, the face-off they had, I definitely think it's going to be Will Ospreay with the Don Callis family turning on him after he beats him.
Now, here's something to take into consideration. When is Mark Davis due to come back? Because he broke his wrist back at Wrestle Dream when Aussie Open took on FTR for the tag team titles. What if we see Mark Davis come back as well, and we see Aussie Open reunite with Ospreay? Who can you see being a third member to the Don Callis family?
Because then one to say, they've gone through so many. Right, Hobbs, Takeshita. They definitely need that third person in the Don Callis family. I don't know who that is. I definitely know that it's not going to be. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I don't know who it could potentially be, to be honest, in the Don Callis family. I don't. Who's yours? Because I don't see anybody.
Ricky Starks. I mean, he fits it. He's a fucking asshole. He's an asshole just like Don Callis. And Starks is much better as a heel than he is as a babyface.
But he's ego. But is his ego too big to be in the Don Callis family?
I don't know. Listen, I'm just looking for a Ricky Starks Will Ospreay match. That's all I'm looking at.
That would be a great match.
That's all I'm looking at.
Unless Ricky Starks is uber talented.
It is a very, very, very tough choice to make. It is a very tough choice to make, but Ricky Starks, I think, would fit very well in there. If they want to mix it up a little bit, maybe they could put a Samoa Joe in there if they want to, depending on if he wins or he loses at Revolution. Samoa Joe would be a good fit for the Don Callis family, being that the hired gun, and Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay. That sounds like a banger match to me. I don't know. Ricky Starks seems like
I would only see Samoa Joe joining the Don Callis family if he loses.
Well, we're actually going to talk about that. Samoa Joe, he's defending the World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match against Hangman and Swerve. Listen, I love Joe. And I hate to see him be a transitional champion. But unfortunately, I do think he's going to be a transitional champion. However, they are absolutely going to make the most out of his transitional championship reign, because there are bigger fish to fry, like I said. The Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland storyline, I have said this once, I'll say it again. This has easily been one of the best stories that AEW has ever told. And it started out so simple, with Swerve just wanting Hangman's spot. And then from there, it just spiraled into a blood feud where now Hangman, he's become obsessed with the fact that he cannot beat Swerve Strickland. He's become obsessed with the fact that he needs to make sure that Swerve does not become the world champion. So much so that now we have this match. I think that this is going to result in a Hangman win. I honestly believe that the best route to go is to have Hangman win the world title by pinning Samoa Joe. So Swerve, technically, he's still never beaten Swerve. Hangman wins the world title, and now Swerve Strickland is the babyface that's chasing. Because if you listen to the crowd reaction, they're not booing Swerve Strickland anymore. They're not. Swerve Strickland's popularity has surpassed Hangman's popularity. Hangman is no longer the hero. If you guys remember in The Dark Knight what Batman said, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Now what we are seeing, Hangman is becoming the villain. Hangman's obsession with the fact that Swerve has always had his number. Hangman's obsession with the fact that Swerve, he wants to be world champion and he is not going to allow him to. It's going to drive him to win the world title. And now Swerve is going to be the babyface that's going to chase Hangman into Wembley Stadium. And Swerve is going to get his crowning moment in front of 60,000, 70,000, 80,000 fans in Wembley Stadium. And we're going to see Swerve Strickland as the new world champion. And after Swerve beats Hangman and becomes the world champion, Hangman is going to go on an absolute rampage. He's going to go full-blown psychopath. And I talked to my dad about this. Back in the day when AEW first started and Hangman wasn't really that hot, my dad told me that he sees the makings of a Randy Orton style heel in Hangman Adam Page. We're talking about like 2009 Randy Orton when he was punting Vince McMahon in the skull. That's what we're talking about. If Hangman wins the world title and then loses it to Swerve, that's it. The man's going to snap. And that right there is going to be a brilliant chapter in the storyline of Hangman and Swerve. And I'm ready for it. I am fucking ready for it. I love Joe, love Swerve. It's not Samoa Joe's time. It's just not his time. He's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Swerve, on the other hand, listen, if Swerve wins, I'll be happy because Swerve is fantastic. But I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking which is the better story to tell. And on top of that, who else would be better to main event All In 2 than Swerve and Hangman? There's no better story. There's no better match. Some people are saying Swerve and Ospreay. It's not going to be Swerve and Ospreay. It's too soon for Ospreay. That's a match that you could do next year. But as we speak right now, Hangman's the one to win it. Hangman's the one to win it. And we're going to tell the story of Hangman becoming the villain. Swerve is now the babyface. And Swerve is going to beat Hangman at Wembley, thus resulting in Hangman becoming an absolute sociopath.
Or Swerve wins on Sunday, and that turns him into the raging psychopath, which brings in the match at All In. It could go either way. With the way Joe's definitely a transitional champion. He was in the right place at the right time with MJF's injury. I think regardless, we would have seen a break from MJF anyways because of the bidding war of 2024. So regardless of him getting injured or not, I still think we would have seen a break from MJF to build the suspense from him coming back, which I think he's definitely coming back. I don't see anywhere for him in the WWE. I don't see the WWE letting him be him. If he went to the WWE, he would be too contained. He would be too... Not now. I just think he would be too contained if he went there. He wouldn't be able to be MJF as he is now. But I don't know who I see winning this match. I don't see Joe retaining because, like we both said, he's a transitional champion. He's definitely not in it for the long term. If he doesn't lose it now, he'll lose it at the next pay-per-view. They're not going to give him a long title reign. It's just he's not... While Joe has the experience and he has the... I don't know, the wherewithal behind him, he's not pretty much. He's not a top guy. He's not a top guy.
No. He is a top guy, but the story with Hangman and Swerve is more important.
See, and I don't see Joe as a top guy. I see Joe as somebody that should be there to put over the younger guys because he's had his time. He's had his moment. Samoa Joe has had his run in the spotlight. He needs to be more like a Dan O'Brien, more of a mentor coming in, putting people over, things of that nature. But I don't know. I possibly see Swerve winning this one. he's been on such a roll, and it would be such a good decision business-wise to throw it on Swerve. But I don't know. It could go when a triple threat match. It's really hard, and AEW is not predictable as other companies are, so it's really hard to predict which way it's going to go.
I'm
Because it's
telling
not
you,
as predictable.
Hangman's the best guy. He's the guy to do it.
I can't take the mustache seriously on Hangman.
I
The
mean,
mustache
the
thing
only
he's
reason
got going
why-
on lately.
The only reason why I'm allowing it is because I know for a fact that it's just to get him more hated. It's ultimately to differentiate him from when he was a babyface versus when he's a heel. But I'm telling you, Hangman's it just makes too much sense. It makes too much sense to put the title on Hangman and then have him take it into All In and Swerve. Instead of getting his crowning achievement in front of 16,000 people, he's going to get it in front of 60,000 people, 70,000 people. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the long term. Which story, which two guys are better to main event All In rather than Swerve and Hangman, which has been the best storyline that AEW has done in the last 12 months?
I don't know if I see Hangman in the title picture again, though, and holding a belt. He's not at the same level that he was 2 years ago when he was the champion. He's just not.
If anything, I think he's better. He's better now than he was then.
Oh, I think he had more people behind him then than he does now. I think people are getting bored.
Because of Swerve. Swerve's popularity has surpassed Hangman, thus resulting in the heel turn, thus resulting in him taking the belt and then taking it
but
to
it's hard. It's hard to see Hangman as a heel. He's freaking Hangman Page. It's hard to see him as a heel. He's been a baby face for so long.
At what he did. Look at what he did on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I'm telling you.
Swerve.
Look, listen. We'll be swerving all the way to Wembley. And by the way, Hula Grim, you're gonna have to start listening to me more often, because I'm telling you, Hangman is the guy to do it. The story is there. You want to talk about story? Story is Hangman winning the title and dropping Swerve.
Nah, he likes me.
Hold on. I got something for you. Hold on. There you go.
Right back at you, kid.
I'm going to be 25. You will not call me kid.
You're still a kid to me. I'll tell you that all the time.
Kid. I am DJ motherfucking Storms, right?
But yeah, I don't see. That means you're DJ Storms. I get it.
Exactly. You're damn right it does.
Let me roll my eyes so hard they may get stuck.
Let's talk about the main event. All
right, let's do it.
Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks Tornado Tag Team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Everything has been laid out perfectly, except for one thing. The one thing that they did wrong with this whole entire build was the fact that they included the tag team titles in the storyline. And the reason being is because by including the tag team titles, they made the match more predictable. Because here's the thing.
Right.
We all know that when it comes to a retirement match, you do the right thing, you lay on your back and you look up at the lights and you put over your opponent. That's what happens in a wrestling retiring match. But unless you're The Undertaker, which he should have retired undefeated at WrestleMania. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm still pissed off.
Absolutely.
I'm still pissed off that Brock Lesnar beat the streak. But as far as this match goes, we all kind of had a feeling that whoever Sting was going to face, Sting was going to put over, because that's the right thing to do. But including the tag team titles, it just made the match more predictable, because now the Young Bucks have to win. There's no other choice. The Young Bucks have to win, because you're not just going to have Darby and Sting relinquish the championships, that devalues not only the superstar, the wrestler, but the championships as well. You can't do that. When it comes to relinquishing titles, there should be no such thing as title relinquishment unless an individual is severely injured and cannot wrestle. So unless Darby and Sting are severely injured and cannot wrestle, there should be no such thing as title relinquishment. The Bucks are going to have to win. You need to transition the championships from Sting and Darby to the Bucks because that is the best route to go. Them relinquishing the titles on Wednesday would be terrible. And that would piss me off. Just like Samoa Joe, when he relinquished the Ring of Honor World Television title back in December, that pissed me the fuck off. That pissed me off.
It was like, what was the point?
Exactly. Mark Briscoe should have beat him. I was pissed off at that. And if Sting and Darby relinquish the tag team titles, I'm going to be pissed off at them too. But as far as I see it, listen, the Tornado tag team match is going to be fantastic. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be woolly wild and all over the place. As my friend Earl Cole says, it's going to be very, very entertaining. And it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a spectacle, and it is going to be a very, very, very nice send-off for Sting. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's just very predictable because Sting and Darby relinquishing the titles would be a horrible. The Young Bucks are going to have to win. Now then, here's what I will say. The Young Bucks are doing fantastic fucking work. The fucking suits, the fucking porn star mustaches, going by their first names, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. I mean, I'm starting to say my first name now. I'm starting to say my full name when I walk into a room. I'm loving what they're doing. Coming out in the bloodstained suits, shoving Tony Schiavone, fining everyone. It's so simple, but it was a much needed change that ultimately is quickly turning into the best presentation of the Bucks that we've seen. I just don't like the fact that it's predictable because of the tag team titles. But this is going to be a great send-off for Sting. I see the Bucks winning the tag team titles, and Sting is going to go out with his head held high.
You know, I could see Tony Khan letting Sting go out with the titles and letting them win. Now to relinquish the titles the next week would be kind of, because that's what they would have to do since Sting's not going to be around anymore. They would have to relinquish the titles next week. But I could potentially see Tony Khan letting Sting go out on top and retiring with the tag team title. What the Young Bucks are doing are great. I can't say I don't miss the super kick party because that's the Young Bucks I love. So it's different seeing them in this aspect, but they had to become the villain in the situation. They had to because there was no other way to do it. Sting has to be the hero in the situation. And that's why I think it's more of a chance for Sting to go over in this match is because they want Sting to go out the hero. They're not going to let the villains win.
I mean, the villains technically aren't winning. Sting has had a career.
He is, but I think they let him go out on top.
I mean, listen, a winner or a loss, Sting is always going to go out on top.
Yeah. Well, the whole part of this that just was stupid to me and didn't make any sense to me was bringing Ric Flair into the picture. That was just dumb. It was pointless.
That was fine. That I'm not as mad about because Ric Flair and Sting, they're tethered together because if it wasn't for Ric Flair, then Sting wouldn't be in the position that he's in. That's not a problem for me. They haven't really been doing anything with him. He's just kind of been there. So I'm not overly complaining over that. I'm more pissed off that the titles are involved because again, listen, I understand that Tony Khan, he could potentially let Sting go out on top, but if it wasn't for the titles, I would probably be leaning more towards Sting and Darby. But if it's now that it is for the titles, it just I just can't get behind them just giving up the titles. I just can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Ric Flair is a dog shit of a human being, so that's part of the reason why I don't like seeing him around. I don't like him giving him attention. He just needs to ride off into the sunset like the disgusting old man that he is. But
Hey, don't disrespect Ric Flair.
I hope Ric Flair is a dog shit human being. He is one of the biggest pieces of garbage that came out of that era. He's not a good person, and you will never change my opinion of Ric Flair. Ric Flair is dog shit. Does he have his career behind him? Yes. But is that career because he was friends with the other giant piece of dog shit? Yes. But it is what it is. I digress. This isn't about Ric Flair. This is about Sting, and Sting deserves to go out on top. Sting deserves to go out with the titles. It's going to be a good match. It's definitely going to be a good match. The Young Bucks are going to bring it out. They're going to make Sting look good. I think that's part of the reason why Sting wanted them to be his last match, is because he knows that the Young Bucks make their opponents look good, and he can make them look good. So,
yes,
it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match.
Now, I'm still going to go with the Bucks. I'm thinking in the long term here of the future of the tag team titles. So I'm going to have to stick with the Bucks here. I'm going to have to stick with the Bucks because it just fits them. It's going to get them more over as heels, and whoever beats the Bucks is going to be the biggest babyface tag team that we've ever seen. Clearly, especially this version of the Bucks, because no one likes this version of the Bucks.
Not at all.
But it looks like that's all we got. It looks like that's all we got for you, people. It looks like that wraps up this edition of The Rundown. I'd like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into the stream. Thank you very much to Hooligram. Thank you very much to Georgie. Thank you very much to Daniel Berry Sports. Thank you very much to Adam Carl. Thank you very much to Ian McWilliams. You guys have been awesome. And thank you very much to you, Jess. Thank you very much for taking the time. You actually have a very nice analytical sense, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you back very, very soon in the near future for more streams.
For sure. I look forward to it. It's been fun.
Now, one last time, where can everybody find you on social media?
At Jess Skywalker 10 on X.
Check it out, people. Check it out. As, of course, you already know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe. We got the Lightning Flash update, the first one of March, this Saturday. And then on Monday at 2 p.m., we got ourselves the Rewind for Revolution featuring Hooligram. Hooligram is coming back to the channel, and we are going to dissect everything that goes down at Revolution, AEW's first major pay-per-view of the year. Till next time, she is Jess. I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rundown. But before we get out of here, we're not done yet, because there's a very important question that all must answer, and everyone must acknowledge the fact. And the fact is, who runs the IWC?
DJ Storm.
Oh, you damn right, baby. Who but DJ motherfucking, no you don't, Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. For your love with the